This is a funny introduction. I think you should be honest with the podcast community about how you feel about being forced to do a video podcast now. How do you feel, Michelle?
I feel resentful.
Okay. Speak more to that.
So I just feel like I was like, yeah, we'll just do a video. And then I was like, oh, that means I have to be seen. Oh, that means I have to like be on camera. And I was under the impression that we do a podcast and we're in our jammies. You never have to
be on camera ever again.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's like being a voiceover actor for an animated series. It's like a dream job where you just get to hide away and chat with your friend. And I guess like I'm just going to hide behind the mic because I just feel like I'm on protest.
You know what you should do is like a dead mouse thing. Like you should wear a helmet, some sort of mask that you wear when we're doing the video portion.
Yeah. No, that's true. And look, this is by my design.
Yeah, you wanted to do this.
Yeah,
you pitched I was the video hard.
Well, I was on board, and then we did it, and then I was like, oh, this is now like something that I have to do. Meaning, I have to like wash my face and brush my hair. My hair is so greasy right now, and I'm noticing it on camera.
Looks nice. Like you obviously did something today. You like put on highlighter, blush.
I put on blush today. Blush. Because I needed to, because I'm so sleepy for no reason.
Well, I mean, you're working on a movie in the Yukon and doing a podcast. Girl, you're busy.
Yeah.
Girl, you're busy.
Girl, busy. Yeah, I know. It's just, I feel hectically sleepy. And you know what's funny? Well, first of all, hello, everybody. Welcome to Spare Parts. Thank you so much for joining.
Who cares about them?
We're in a fight.
Yeah.
Although on my dog walk this morning, a lovely man in Victoria, if he's listening, he yelled, "Spare parts."
Oh, that's huge. That's actually huge.
And I was like, oh. And it's so funny because people, I think we've kind of discussed it, but people have obviously come up to us about Letterkenny and or other projects in the past, but there's something really cool about podcast fans because it feels
very intimate.
So intimate and so like niche too, that I'm like, whoa, there are people that are actually listening.
Yeah, you read my diary is what it feels like.
Exactly. And I'm kind of instantly like, are we friends? I guess we're friends.
100%. Oh, people who listen to the podcast, like, think about it. How often do you fall asleep watching a show? I mean, I used to do that. Nowadays, it's like no screens in the bedroom. But you can still put a podcast in and fall asleep. Like you can hear someone's voice and have them lull you to sleep. If that's happening to you right now.
You have a good, when you did that like fake Modelo, you know, we're not sponsored by them, but we're happy to have them on. Bring it back. But when you did that, it was so good. You sounded amazing. I was like, wait, you should be a voice actor as well. As a regular actor.
I am, but I appreciate your support in this world. I started as a voice actor. That's how I was making all my money when I was just out in the industry originally.
I didn't know that. Like doing commercials? Or?
Yeah, I did commercials for like, I did commercials for like Samsung and the Art Institute of America. Learn to chop, to slice, move into da-da-da. Like I used to do that stuff all the time when I was non-union. And then I joined the union. And then I'd never worked again in voiceover until many years later. And now I'm in video games and stuff. But like,
right. I knew you were in video games, but I feel like you could replace the guy who does like the, like,
I love replacing people. I love kicking people out of their jobs. So whoever it is, I'm going to find them and I'm going to fuck them up. Who is it?
Well, whenever he naturally retires on his own accord, you could step into the position of the like a movie trailer, like in the theaters. I don't know. My brain is not working.
Have you ever seen the movie In a World with Lake Bell? It's...
Oh yeah, In a World. I haven't seen that movie in so long. That's such a good movie.
I remember it being very, very good. Yeah.
I really like that movie. I also really like her.
She's funny.
Kate,
hot girls are funny. It's like a thing. Like it's like hard to. Yeah, you have to break through a barrier. I know.
It's so hard out here.
It's so hard for us.
Okay, wait. Do you know who Zach Wood is?
Of course. He's so funny. From The Office, he played Gabe.
Yeah, and then Silicon Valley.
Oh, I never actually watched Silicon Valley. I only know him as Gabe.
I loved Silicon Valley. I was like a big fan. And then when the lead guy, did you know that the lead guy from Silicon Valley, he's a Vancouver actor, curly hair. I'm blanking on his name. I should just look it up.
Thomas Middleditch?
Yes. Wow. Yes. And he came to our show in LA and I met him at the like after party rooftop thing. And we had like a big chat and I was quite
I wasn't invited
starstruck.
to an after party on the rooftop. What happened? What was this?
I mean, I don't think it was like formal.
I'm kidding. I was there. I was just waiting to see if you remember. Wow. I know how this works.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you were there.
As a bad friend.
I have no memory of you being there. But to be honest, we were there for like 15 minutes. And then I think we all went to that like crazy club in downtown LA that was like 4 levels. Remember?
Oh, yeah. And you talked to
Karen Kilgariff for the first time.
And you were just like, I just love you so much. I just want to let you know that I'm just a huge fan. And then like a couple came up to you and tried to have a threesome, basically. I remember that whole night from that moment on. I thought that was very funny. So Karen and I are absolutely vibing. I was being a bit of a stan and then I cooled it and then we had like a great chat. And then you were flush. You were very excited initially.
And I was walking weird. I remember like walking weird around her.
Podcast fans, man, they're freaks.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I'm one of them. I was like, we know each other well, and she's just like, have no idea who you are.
From the murder podcast. What's it called again? I always do this. I always called it Only Murders in the Building. What's it actually called?
My Favorite Murder.
My Favorite Murder. They're delightful. I love that podcast.
Yeah, she's amazing. But in the middle of my conversation with her, this couple came up to us and was like, hey, like, sorry to interrupt. And I just thought they were like some fans of the show who'd come from the show and wanted to say hi or whatever. And then the first thing they say is the guy goes, or no, the girl, the wife, she's like, hey, I'm just wondering, could you like in character tell my husband to like fuck off and like just like berate him in front of me for a bit?
I think she wanted you to slap him too. Like, I remember there being like a physical element.
She's like, and if you want to like, slap him or box kick him, etc.
Rough him up a bit.
And I was just like, this feels, I mean, certainly no. The answer is of course no. But it also had like such a obvious layer of like kink stuff that I was like, this is so massively inappropriate. I just can't imagine doing that. You better pay me
$1,000 right now to be publicly in your kink.
I'm owed $1,000 for even having to hear about this.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It was pretty wild. And all this is happening while you're like, I don't want to say gushing over Karen Kilgariff, but you are gushing. You're a gusher.
I'm gushing over her.
You're a volcano. And they're just like, excuse me, could you beat the shit out of my husband so that I could get off later?
And Karen observed the whole thing and was just like, that was one of the weirdest fan encounters I've ever seen. I was like, yep. It's a wide range of Letterkenny fans. Some are the cutest, sweetest, most pure angels, and then others are demons. They're there for weird reasons. They've really picked up on an element of the show that I don't understand.
Well, there's a very sexual element to the show. Let's be real. There's a lot of slow-mo. I realized that today when we were watching the episode and saw Clark for the first time. I was like, they introduced her in slow-mo?
I was like, and it's kind of a weird butt shot too. We'll get into it, but
I'm also in her back pocket.
Yeah.
Milk and Honey playing. It's like good water pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Cold.
They're Montreal, right? Are they? Yeah, they're a Montreal band, I think. I saw them live. Tippy tap, tip tap, 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 tap.
No, Milk and Honey is not a Canadian band, but there are Canadian musicians with the name in their work. Wait, what? The fuck does that mean? So people in the band are Canadian, but they are not Canadian? Excuse me?
I think the girls are from Montreal.
There you go. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong band. Is it called Pressure? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong band. Pressure, song, Letterkenny.
Water Pressure.
Milk and Bone.
Milk and Bone.
I'm an idiot, dude.
Yeah. Close.
Wait, don't agree with that?
Yes.
The fuck? Is Milk and Bone Canadian? Yes, Milk and Bone are a Canadian electropop duo based in Montreal, Quebec. You're good. You're smart and good. You're very cool.
Thank you. I saw them in Toronto and they were really good.
I bet.
Okay, but the reason we've really gotten, but Zach Woods, I just started following him on Instagram.
I'm glad you circled back around. He's so funny.
Funniest video about Jeff Bezos. I need to play it for you.
Okay.
This is smooth and egg-like perfection. Oh man, I just saw the most fucking sweet picture of Jeff Bezos. He's in the center. And then all around him are all these women, and it's just like, oh, I'm so jealous. Like pimp, he's like a pimp in the center. Yeah! This is like a Mount Rushmore of.
Anyways, it's just like
very good. Yeah,
such a good roast.
He's got a
of
great
just,
energy.
Because it's like it's so true. It's so embarrassing.
It
These
is
like
very
this like old
embarrassing.
man and all these like hot actresses at the Vanity Fair
None
after
of
party.
this makes
and
any
it's like,
sense.
what is happening?
None of it makes any sense. It's like, why do you like masculinity has been it's so many levels away from correct in their world. Like they're so off base.
They're so off base.
It's so how can you miss it that much?
Masculinity has been on the decline, as we know, for a very long time.
Brutal.
But this like font of quote unquote masculinity, it could not be more cringe and
so
more
outdated.
like and just like it's so embarrassing and all I
keys
see
to the VIP. It's like, what are you doing?
It's like, let's get a bottle, ladies. Like, what?
Fuck?
Where are we? Like, it's so deeply embarrassing. I love it. I love it so much. So, anyways, I love
He's
that
funny,
video.
though.
I
Zach
had
Woods
to share.
he's got a great TikTok. All of his TikToks are so weird. He made a whole one where he was in puppetry and he was a puppet.
Yeah.
It's like he's a very bizarre guy.
He's somebody
his
that
energy.
I have like a
crush on.
No, it's not a romantic crush. I'm trying to explain. I have like
Creative crush?
talent crushes on people, and it's always comedians. So I have a talent crush on Chris
Like,
Farley.
I wish I could work with you, or I wish I could be like in
I
your
just like want to be
orbit do
laughing at your stuff
with you in person.
and you wouldn't like that, but I want that. Like it's like that. It's not a romantic crush, but it's a talent crush. I mean, I also have talent. I have a talent crush on Denzel Washington too.
Oh, do you? Oh, very different kind of talent crush, I imagine.
So I guess it's just like reverence for people that are really talented. But yeah,
it's harder for me to find that with serious actors, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I find serious acting, and I think the Oscars was a great example of this. Serious actors are fucking pricks sometimes. Like it's just hard to listen to them talk. They're so full of themselves.
It's
not that serious. I'm sorry.
I know.
Like,
take a breath.
Even if you're doing the most
serious
role in the world, and you're reflecting on some like horrible tragedy as your role, it's not that serious. Like you're not doing surgery.
Adrian Brody.
Oh my God. I
Brody.
had to stand up and do like 12 circles of the apartment while he was talking. I was like, I wish so badly I hadn't watched that speech so I could continue to enjoy Adrian Brody movies. It's so hard to enjoy stuff because I can't, like, it takes so much for me to like,
to separate the person from the, I know.
And I've had that happen where I'm like, you've ruined some people out there. I wish I didn't meet certain people.
I think there's maybe sometimes a correlation though. I don't know. Like, I mean, not all the time, but to be like an actor,
you have to take yourself seriously on a level.
Like we roast actors a lot because it's like, how can you not?
We have to.
And I notice myself, like even being on this set, like if I'm too self-aware, kind of getting into character, I want to gag. Like it's so.
There's a way to do it though.
There is, and you have to. Like when you're just yourself and you're not on set, you're not in character, take a fucking breath.
You're not a narcissist though. You're not a fucking crazy egomaniacal man. Let's be real, mostly. And it is like this thing, like even just watching Jeremy Strong as Kieran Culkin's accepting the award. I'm like, give him a smile, you fuck. This is your buddy you've been working with for years.
Yeah.
Even my most hated enemy, I would find the courage to be joyful for them in that moment.
It's also
it's just so weird.
You will work again. This doesn't mean your career is over. You just didn't get your widow trophy. You were nominated. What an incredible homage to your work that you did. Is that not enough?
Let your shoulders down. Like just enjoy.
Drop the shoulders. Like
fun.
It's so.
Have a beer. Like what are you doing?
I bet he's sober. Not to.
Oh, he's absolutely sober. Oh my God. And Kieran's out there probably ripping lines. Like, and he's having the time of his life.
Sniff or schneef.
He's sniffing good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it gets to a point. I didn't watch the whole Oscars.
I did.
But.
First time in years.
Really?
Hadn't watched a single movie this year.
No, really?
And I watched every moment of the Oscars.
I watched a lot of the movies actually this year. I haven't seen The Brutalist because when movies are that long, I'm really resistant because I'm just like,
Yeah. When I peed 7 times during The Irishman, I was like, I don't know if I can ever watch a 3.5 hour movie again. I think I'm too old. My bladder's too small.
It's on my list. I need to see it. I know it's like an important film for me to watch, but I haven't seen it. But I will say I love The Substance. Obviously, you haven't seen The Substance?
I still haven't seen The Substance.
That
I know.
blows my mind.
But the only reason I hadn't seen The Substance is because I was waiting for it to come to my movie theater that I go to, and it was sold out both nights. And then I was like, well, I guess now I have to wait for it to come on to streamer.
Yeah.
Sucks.
It's so fun. Okay, will you promise me when you watch it, can you and Alana turn off all the lights, have your snacks, like settle in for an experience?
We never move. Yeah.
Maybe even have a martini or something with it.
Don't have to tell me twice.
Okay. I think that'd be fun.
Martini.
I am picturing you guys with like a dirty martini for some reason.
Personally, I'm a gin martini with a twist. I like a dry, but that's just my own.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
Classic martini build from Yonder Time. And I really appreciate the clearness of it, how clean it is. And I also like that feeling of just like 3 ounces of alcohol in your body. It's just like this.
Yeah, it hits hard. I love The Substance. I loved Honora. And I was personally...
They won everything. Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was really glad that she won. And I know Demi's, like everyone, it's like a bit split. Sure. I mean, everybody there, who cares? You're all incredible. You all did the thing. You achieved the dream. But like Mikey Madison's work in Honora was so, it like shocked me. Sean Baker usually, or maybe not usually, but often will like hire people that are actually those characters to play. Right. So like in Tangerine or whatever, like he actually got real people from these situations.
Those are always the best
roles.
Actors. The non-actor role, you're always like, damn, you're
exactly.
Good. You're so good.
That's what I thought Mikey was.
Yeah, it's hard to play.
I literally was like, oh wow, they found this woman who's a stripper and she like lives in New York.
That's amazing.
She was that transformative. Like every single breath she took was in character. I was like shocked. And then when I saw her in an interview, I couldn't believe it.
She seems chill as fuck. Her acceptance speech was very like, I mean, to be honest, I'm like, I got sick and tired of everyone thanking everyone else in the category and stuff. Personally, I'm like, why does everyone have to thank the Academy? Why does everyone have to thank their agent? I understand why you're up there doing that. I get it. But this is a televised event. Like, this isn't for them. Like, this is literally, it's still a performance. Like, get up there and say something funny and charming and weird. Be fun. Have a unique speech. But I get it. She's young. She's building her base. She's going to be in movies for the rest of her life now because she's such a professional. I totally get it.
It's also like, it is respectful to
so
be
respectful.
Like, I think it's kind of nice.
Thank you, Sony. It's like,
I know. Like, they don't need that. They don't need it.
Sony's like, well, she said yes. We're going to get her in the next movie then.
But it is a bit like, look, I know how to play the game.
Exactly.
Like, it's all a game. But I do think it's nice to like thank your team and stuff, sure. But yeah,
I would thank the assistants only though. It'd be like,
of course,
thank you to my assistant.
PA grab me coffee every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think that's why the Oscars are such a funny, and this whole these kinds of nights where we celebrate in such a lavish way, and everyone's dressed it to the nines, and it's like there's an era for decadence and there isn't. You know what I mean? Like that whole like post-war decadence is like such a thing that happened. That's why there were baby boomers. That's why everyone's just fucking and celebrating war being over. And we're just kind of in a weird time where it's like, there's just so much shit going on in the world. And we're so exposed to it that like, it's hard to just kind of celebrate that lavishly and that exquisitely in that. And that's why people were like, had such fucked up shit to say about like the LA fires and stuff. They're like, well, they can afford to lose their homes. It's like, but we've lost sight of that too. It's like they still lost their homes.
Yeah.
Like there's a middle. There's a middle. And people very rarely go to the middle anymore. It's a lot of extreme comments in both directions. And it's just a funny, the Oscars are a perfect example of a night where you're like, if you go online, you're just going to see one side or the other all the way of like,
it's polarizing.
These people who are like, this is the best person to ever exist. I love Jeremy Strong so much. How dare you say something wrong about him? Yeah.
And again, it's like, celebrate the work. I mean, it's obviously just like a hokey, like I think any sort of award show for anything is hokey
but
inherently.
You think it's hokey. A lot of people out there are like, they don't. They're like, this is my fucking, but this is it.
But you think like you're saying fellow actors?
No, I mean there's people who watch out there who are people get. I mean, I think something we need to remember is like how big of a fan people are of stuff and things. Like people identify their personalities to like how much they loved Wicked. You know what I mean? Like Wicked was such an important part of their lives that they were like crying when she didn't win. You know what I mean? Like there are people, there are a lot of people out there, more than you think, whose whole heart were like shattered. It's like the same with sports guys, you know, when like the Eagles lose or some shit and they're devastated. It's all people who are fans of things. It's like a,
and I think it's okay. I just need to clarify. I think that
it's okay
really
to be a fan.
Cool to be into things.
Yeah.
I love movies and TV shows and podcasts. Like, and the people that are a part of them mean a lot to me, as we've discussed. As I, you know, Karen Kilgariff, Denzel Washington. Like I am affected by these people. I root for them. I care about them, and I also can sort of see a big picture. And maybe it's You're
not a super fan though.
No.
You've never been, have you ever been a super fan of something where it's like you would think you'd like hyperventilate or freak out if you met someone, or like you care so much about this person you don't know that you want the most for them?
I don't understand what that fully is. And maybe I'm missing out on something. I don't know.
I think it's probably your exposure to creating things. I think making things takes away
but even
a lot
as
of
little
like the mystique
kid,
of it. Yeah.
I wasn't like in the industry as a little kid.
Spice Girls, you didn't think the Spice Girls at the time? If you had met
Spice
Ginger
Girls.
or Posh,
I mean, as a child, yeah. I just like, I think you can be really affected by art and not have it be so a part of your own DNA as far as the like business element of it all. And what those award shows feel like to me is just like a business like showcase in this way that I don't think is
it's
very
like the upfronts. It's like who can purchase the most.
Exactly. It's like it doesn't feel as attached to the art, which I actually care about. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and I never really thought about it like that, but you're totally right, and that's definitely why they're thanking all of their production companies.
Yeah, because it's just like, business. It's about the money. It's about
another 100 mil.
Correct. And even like I did read, and this is not verified, but Anora was only like $8 million to make, and then they did like an $18 million Oscar campaign so that it would win some awards, so that he, Sean Baker can make, and that's just good business. Hey,
and that's
like
Neon,
I
right,
respect
or something?
it, but like it is just good to know.
It's interesting. It's very good to know, and it's interesting to see a movie like that take it home from the Wicked movie. Like Wicked probably cost $100 million to make, $200 million, right? It was probably a ridiculous amount to make. Well, it's
Anora, it was fantastic. I really recommend.
I'll watch them all this week, and
get back to me because I'd like to hear your thoughts for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll enjoy a lot of them. I don't know. Again, The Brutalist, I don't know if I'll be able to sit down and watch anymore because I'll just be thinking of that acceptance speech the whole time, and I'll be like, you fuck.
Yeah, and like I want to see The Apprentice. I want it because I hear it's amazing.
I can't sit down and watch that story for 2 hours either, though. Like I feel like I want to watch.
It's like we're so inundated.
Yeah, I'm like, do I really want to take my fun spare time? And
yeah, that's totally understandable. Well, getting back to dare I say, a piece of art that is so fun.
Letterkenny
doesn't take itself seriously.
Oh my god,
all.
Totally. What a great point. This is such a juxtaposition to what is happening.
It really is. It's a breath of fresh air, and it is something I just have to like give a little nod to Jared Kiso too, who is so about the work and about the quality,
not about the interviews, and not about the press tours, and
not about
awards.
the like. And it's interesting, and I think like. You have to choose how you participate with it. He chose what he was comfortable with, but he does always put the work before his own kind of like image, I guess. And it shows
lack of image,
right? And
social
it shows in the work because there is a bit of like. I don't know. Letterkenny's a little bit punk rock in that way.
It's a bit cool. It's a bit cool. Absolutely, it is. It occupies a space of just like especially like the way that it's cast all within this like first of all, Canadians. It's a bunch of the pool of talent is like a very small pool of talent, but found a lot of great people within this like area. Like it's going against all the norms. It's like you didn't need a big American name in order to make it happen.
Yeah.
You didn't need the most famous song in the world in the title. Like it's like there's so many things that he just like shot directly past and just went for like almost the old school version of like, let's just make a show that I like.
Yeah.
Something I would watch.
Yeah. And there's just something like inherently cool about being humble a little bit.
I guess one of my like thoughts is like when we go to like the CSAs and stuff, which for those of you who don't know, which is 90% of audience, Canadian Screen Awards.
It's really cool. Big
we
name.
have won, they're really fun. We have won a few of those for like best comedy, best ensemble, various things, best writing, best directing, all that over the years, right? Whenever Kiso gets up to do a speech, like he'll do something like he'll take out a picture from his pocket and show the whole crew. And he'll be like, I just want to thank all these people in this photo. He's just like, he's not going through and naming every crew member because there's like 100, but he like really like wants to show the crew.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of stuff goes a long way. And it sort of goes back to the whole like reinforcing the culture of the show and being like, this is different. This isn't like, you're not on this show to be the most famous guy in the world. This isn't like necessarily the launch pad for, you know, your next big $100 million movie if you thank these people correctly at the awards. It's very different.
It is. And like, not to say you have to dim your light, like just be real. And there's a difference, and I think people can clock it. And and like with Letterkenny or Jared doing speeches or whatever, people are just really more aware of authenticity than we give them credit for. And I think people are becoming more and more aware.
Yeah. There's not a lot of authenticity at the Oscars is what it feels like. It feels like everyone's pretty scared of fucking up. It's like the number one feeling is like, even the presenters, I'm like, you guys are professional actors. And some of them had the hardest time in the world reading the teleprompter and like keeping it together. And I was like, this is interesting. Like, I know it's slightly different type of job, but it's a very similar job to acting. Like, you're just presenting. Like, you just be a little earnest and say the words. Like, I know you're scared. I get it. Because if you fuck up, you ruin the rest of your career, basically. Like, it's like the upside to presenting at the Oscars is there's none. It's like you can only fuck up. Unless you're Ben Stiller. That was the funniest. Did you see Ben Stiller's?
No, I didn't see it.
You should just look up Ben Stiller's presentation at the Oscars this year. Okay. After having listened to him on Conan and hearing how obsessive he is with his little bits, like when he used to come on Conan's show, he would get just absolutely obsessed with his bits, show up hours and hours early, rehearse them over and over and over again. Like no one else does that on his show, right? This is a prime example. It's the best moment of the Oscars is this like 2-minute sequence that he does. It's just like, it's perfect.
Okay,
it's a masterclass.
I love Ben Stiller.
He's so fucking funny.
You know, Connor and I just watched Meet the Parents the other night.
Isn't that crazy? Wild rewatch at this stage. So crass.
It was wild.
So like fucking the cat. Like,
oh my God, it's such a weird movie and it's so funny. And Ben Stiller's little like, I mean, his performance in that movie, he's so brilliant.
Yeah, I forgot how jacked he was in that movie. Like when he's playing polo in the water, I was like, what the fuck? He was like an A-lister. Like he's jacked.
I know.
Who knew?
It's really good. I recommend that as a rewatch. It's also just like a good, cozy movie that's going to make you feel like a little kid again in a nice way.
That movie is so funny because it's like De Niro's dipping his toe into like family comedy, and then he went way too far in that direction after. But Meet the Parents was perfect for him.
Yeah, like, it was perfect because it's so dark, and he's CIA. Yeah, like it's still cool.
It still works, but then he's just then he's bad Grandpa 7 or whatever later. But I think it's because he has to pay for like all of Nobu's bills or something. Like he owns a ton of restaurants, and they're all hemorrhaging cash, and he has like 7 ex-wives. So he has to make $7 million a year or something. This is what I heard in order to stay even.
Jesus,
so he has to do these movies. He's trapped doing these
movies.
That's
so crazy. Yeah. Like with his, oh man. Well, hey, be careful who you have babies with and how many businesses you open. I guess is the lesson for all of us, really.
That's all what I'm always thinking about. I'm always like, how many babies and how many businesses? The B&B.
Yeah. And also like, I've heard this on this other podcast. They were talking about like just the amount of businesses we have on this, like maybe less businesses, more skilled pilots.
Sure.
Less influencers, more teachers.
You're so specific about that one because you've been flying recently and you're terrified.
Oh my God. I think that's also why I'm so tired is because my adrenals are shot from going on all these flights. And I'm like, I'm so stressed.
I got a night guard today. I got a night guard fitted. I was like, I didn't realize I was grinding my teeth. I'm like, I'm stressed.
Evan, you didn't have to tell me. Of course you're grinding your teeth. Of course
you think these choppers don't look normal? Yeah, I am a teeth grinder, of course. I think I just said teeth grinder, so that tells you.
So that tells you everything you need to know. Shall we get into the episode? This is the final episode of season 2. Stormy Stud or something. Finding
Stormy a Stud.
She's a beautiful dog.
Yeah. Oh my God, she's so cute.
She's a beautiful dog.
I love her. I just want to pet her. We start off with, and this is not our fault. We get to talk about dogs in this episode, FYI. This isn't like, this is not
my face is fully hidden this whole time.
It's totally hidden. You look like, I'm like, can you pull it down just so I can see what your face actually does look like? There it is. Or you're going to pull your head up. We're going to get so many comments. It's like, Michelle, you better move that mic.
Guys, let me be
let her live
about it, and I'll loosen
She'll
up.
Get there eventually.
It takes me time. I'm an onion. It is what it is.
Yeah, let her peel her layers at her own pace.
Yeah.
So we start with the Hicks outside lounging, right? You're tanning. And the Hicks are talking.
Oh, no, we start with the boys in the barn talking about...
You're correct.
Doing dick dingers, but they start with a kid a cousin.
They're talking about Samuel.
Samuel.
And Samuel's like the only child in all of Letterkenny. The only person other than the kids who buy cigarettes from like when the skids are selling cigarettes. And I think one of those is Samuel, if I'm not mistaken. But Samuel is like the only kid. Is he the kid who says, "You're getting fucked"? Honestly, I'm not familiar. They're fucking ya.
Oh,
when he calls Tanis.
No. That's
a different kid.
Yeah, that's a different kid.
Okay.
Samuel is, and this is a funny like era of Letterkenny where Wayne is so anti children, and I guess he always is throughout the whole. Yeah, it's just like it's a very funny character thing to like really not like kids.
He's not fond of kids, but he comes around to Samuel like at some point during like the Halloween episode, I think it is.
True, he lifts them up or something.
Yeah, it's cute. It's a cute moment. So they're talking about Samuel and they're talking about how he's ripping Fun Dip dry rips. So he's snorting Fun Dip. I don't know if you guys get Fun Dip in America. I don't even know if that's a Canadian thing or not, but
I hope they do because it's a really great little candy.
I mean, yeah, powdered sugar in 3 different packets, 3 different packets with like a little stick made of sugar and you lick it and you
gross.
A licking dip.
Zing, zing. Again. Ding,
I would totally just do like a full, like just eat all the sugar and then just suck the thing. Like it's like
really?
I went against the grain. Yeah. Like just bite it. And
that's cool.
Just be a monster. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Same with like a baby bottle pop. Remember the song? Baby bottle pop.
Baby bottle pop.
Gross candy. Anyways, so then we get introduced to this thing called dry rips, and a dry rip is when you take a snort of cocaine, but you haven't had any alcohol in your system to kind of like loosen your body up into this next phase of the party night, I guess. It is kind of a crazy idea to just go wild. From zero to cocaine.
Yeah, if you're doing dry
rips. Are we allowed
rips,
to say cocaine?
We can say whatever we want. We're not sponsored by anyone or anything.
True, we're free.
If whoever wants to buy this podcast, you can bleep the shit out of this episode.
You can bleep it,
But for now, cocaine. And there's an element of kind of a surprise for me, at least, to hear that both Daryl and Squirrely Dan have had such a storied history with drugs. Like such a storied history. Like they've tried everything. And I never really kind of processed that before, but they're talking from personal experience. Like, well, if you're doing dry rips, you know, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Especially if you're hoovering schneef and you're hooping it up the butt, et cetera.
Oh, yeah,
that's how they get into
the
whole crux of it all.
The whole crux of it all. Yeah. The crescendo.
Yeah, I always heard about that stuff growing up. I mean, I remember being like...
Oh, yeah.
Well, I always heard about models putting tampons soaked with vodka in their butts. But then I also heard that could kill you. So...
Whoa.
Because it's so much alcohol so quick. But like then you're not... Also, vodka's like 0 calories, right?
Yeah, like what are we talking about
here? What are you doing?
I heard that models used to like live off, they would soak cotton balls in champagne so that their stomach would be full and they'd have that sugar and then they just smoke cigarettes and have these like... when they were getting ready to...
Models' bodies should be studied like for science, like what the human body is capable of like absorbing. Like it's just an odd... they've come up with so many creative solutions to starve themselves.
And unfortunately, they're not able to function because it ends up killing them.
Yeah, it doesn't work in the end of the day.
No, it really doesn't. Yeah. Our bodies need to eat food and drink water. What? So...
No way.
Then, after this kind of like the classic cold open, we go into the conversation at the produce stand about Stormy finding a stud.
Yeah, which I guess is like you want your dog to have babies? That's just the plot? Like he's just like, this dog should have babies because
it's
so
quite
cute.
an industry, puppy.
But you think Wayne's out there to sell puppies, or do you think he's out there to he just wants more beautiful dogs in the world? That's my sense.
I think it's a farm hustle.
I
don't think they're they don't have they're not breeding
they're not working.
dogs
That's
all the
for
time.
Sure. They don't fucking do anything.
But it's they have animals, and a part of the process of having animals is potentially if you have purebred, and Stormy seems to be a purebred German Shepherd.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money. You can sell these puppies for $5,000 a puppy.
It's true. Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
So you think they're out for cash, cold hard cash? I
think it's a bit of both.
Okay, because he has such an emotional connection to finding Stormy a stud. It's kind of one of the rare times where again you see Wayne fully sentimental, when he stands up really slowly and he's so committed to finding Stormy a stud. It's kind of beautiful. He really cares about this dog. Yeah, and the way that they talk about And I also have a fondness for that's my girl, when Katie really likes that she's tough to nail down. You can't.
Yeah. She has high standards.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And Gail's going to try to find the stud. And then
there's who appears out of nowhere the first time she shows up, which is so funny.
A classic Letterkenny, where did she come from? Where is she going?
Doesn't matter.
We don't care.
You can hear Jacob. No
Doesn't
matter.
It doesn't matter. Who cares? Moving on.
Look up. We don't have time for this.
Yeah. So she comes in and it's kind of alluded to that there might be something wrong with Stormy. And this is where we get the whole finger up the bum, one knuckler, two knuckler classic bit. There's a lot of classic
bits in this. He's eating Aldous chips. There's a whole bunch of things that happen in this episode.
And then the big one for me, at least, is this is where, again, forgetting everything. This is where Professor Trisha first, because we talk about sedating Stormy in order to her to
he goes on his first rant, maybe.
Yeah, this is where Professor Trisha comes up for the first time. Or
I think she's showed up in a previous episode, but not in this way, not in this because he's introduced his women's studies class, I think, at this point, but now he's doing a rant.
Okay, and I think this is when it really caught on, though.
Yes.
This and I just
people
remember
laughed
him
about
doing
this one and getting excited about him being so into it.
Yeah, and such a feminist and kind of surprise people in a nice way.
It helps round out Squirrely Dan's character in a way that you're
it really does.
He's likable. He's trying his best.
Yeah, and he's learning new things and he's kind of his eyes are open to the patriarchy in this new way, and it's very endearing. And I just remember K-Trev, this was not written. I think it was just he explodes about Professor Trisha, and I think that K-Trev kind of went off and kind of created this complex side of his character in a cool way. It does
feel very K-Trev, those kinds of rants. It is in his voice, his comedic voice when he does stand up. It is that it's same
also
level.
Those are his ethics too.
It's true. He does feel that way. Yeah. So that's true.
K-Trev's very forward thinking, and I really that's what I appreciate about you, K-Trev.
Oh shit! People are gonna go wild for that line. I'm sorry I spoke over it. I couldn't help it because you're gagging. Yeah. No, I love that. That was a good moment. It was huge.
Yes, a great scene, and then we kind of punch to the hockey boys who are really struggling.
They're going through it, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't realize this was such a heartbreak episode for not only Stuart but also hockey. Everyone's kind of mourning the loss of Katie out of nowhere.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. They've been dealing with it all season, I guess, in their own ways, and it's just kind of come to a head here. Enough bullying by the senior A hockey players, and it's just gotten to a point. And then Coach shows up. That's the last straw. Coach shows up at their senior A.
Screams at them.
And screams at them and calls them various kinds of cakes, which is an amazing sequence. The way he can twist the description of an angel food cake into being the most insulting thing in the world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's so good. Mark is so talented, obviously. And then the boys standing side by each and their beautiful, glowing skin. They're just gorgeous.
Their arms, their hair, their eyes. They're just beautiful people.
They are so beautiful. They look they look like stars.
Yeah, they look like Greek gods. Yeah,
they are gods. Yeah. I was so impressed. We need to get our hands on Andrew's hair and get it back to this hair.
Get our hands on his hair. I don't know if you can get away with this hair. There's it's just so wild. It is anime hair.
I know it's too high. I think there's a way to do a version of it that I think he needs to bring back because he still has the hair.
Yeah, he still has
he could absolutely pull this off.
He doesn't put that much in it now, though. He doesn't like do that same kind of gel.
Yeah, which I guess it'd be, And I guess this is like the classic thing. Do you want to be a hair guy?
Yeah, do you want to be a hair guy? It's true.
Only real Letterkenny fans know that.
Only you out there. Imagine being a not real Letterkenny fan and getting this far into the podcast. Like
you never know.
To be honest, a lot of people who I know in my daily life have been like, hey, I'm gonna give the podcast a listen. I'm like, you've never watched the show. But maybe give it a listen. Maybe it still works. I'd love to know out there if anyone listens to this podcast but has only watched a little bit or maybe none of the show. I'd be so curious to know if there's even one of you.
I think some of my sweet friends who are like really supportive of my career, but like have they watched Letterkenny? No,
right,
fair
it's
enough.
Different. Yeah.
But I think they are listening because a lot of my friends live far away, and it's kind of like
they like your voice. It's like hanging out with you.
And they love you. You are a huge
Get out of here.
Well, and I think I told you this last time, kind of off the air, but
you can't give me a compliment on air. That's weird.
I know. Well, let's get ready because I'm doubling down.
I'm sweating already.
71-year-old father, God bless him, he has somehow been able to access the podcast. We're not sure how he figured it out, but he did. And he's been listening. And the first episode he listened to was the Valentine's Day episode where we just have Emma talking about finger blasting for like 10 consecutive minutes. So that was a hard fact to kind of like take in.
But it's like when they watched Letterkenny for the first time, right? You've probably felt the same way. Like it's not a PG show.
No. And especially for my parents and my family watching like me playing Katie.
Very proper. You're very proper in real life.
Yeah, well, my family's quite proper. So I think it was a bit of a but they loved it, and he loves it. Tim, hello Tim, if you're listening.
Hey Tim.
He loves the podcast, and he thought you were great.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he was really impressed with you.
It means a lot coming from you because you're very cool. He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy, okay? I can't help it.
Okay. He's a cool, nice guy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he is. And he's a nice guy. I think my mom's also listening, but it's hard to say, really. Because I don't think she's figured out how to access podcasts yet. But
the podcast is
there.
As soon as, I'm telling you, now that this podcast is a video podcast, it's going to be a lot easier to find. Parents love YouTube. And if you're posting it on YouTube, we can post videos on Facebook now. So we can post the full video on Facebook as well.
Oh my gosh, Facebook.
And you'll get all the boomers. And the boomers love Letterkenny.
Put it on your fucking Facebook.
Put it on your fucking Facebook.
Okay, so where are we now? Oh yeah, then we've got the skid story, which is so cute and also like a very deep look into Jared Keeso's like rap favorites.
Oh so right.
It's like all it's like all of his
Brown,
Bus Driver, like all of these rappers that he loves, hip hop.
Hey, Danny Brown has a podcast. Danny Brown, do you watch Letterkenny? Did you know you were mentioned?
Does he really?
Yeah, he has a podcast. It's great. It's very funny.
Cool.
He answers questions from the audience. It's like his own Spare Hearts.
Well, there you go. That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stuart's upset. Hockey's upset. All of a sudden, Glenn appears and he looks like an angel and he's trying to like guide Hockey.
I loved that moment.
It's so weird. Do you notice his shirt changes?
Yeah, his shirt changes. It's very funny. It's a good bit.
It's a very subtle bit. And,
very subtle.
Yeah, he looks like a little angel. And it's kind of like the energy of like, how do we win her back? And Glenn's like, you guys are the worst. I would never, if I'm Wayne, I don't want you near my sister. Like, you guys suck.
She's like, they're like, so we have to fight Wayne.
So
Which I love is that when they get to
that's where they get to.
You want me to be inside crazy. Wayne or whatever. Go through Wayne. And he's like, oh, go through Wayne.
Yeah, I like the sounds of that.
I like the sex. This is a weird episode because it's kind of the last full episode of Glenn. Like season 2, where we start to get a lot less Glenn, and also the last episode of DeJordy. Because it's the end of season 2. I mean, we have the St. Patrick's Day special, and then that's the last time you see him. So this is like a weird kind of final.
And I felt that.
Yeah, like, there's a chapter close here.
It does feel that way. Like with Glenn, I felt, and maybe just also because I know it's coming.
You just know, yeah.
Yeah, but you're just like, oh, he was so present for these first 2 seasons. And then, like losing Devin, there's no question it was a loss.
Oh, yeah.
Alex was such an incredible, contribution.
Great actor. Like, he's like very committed. Talk about committed actors.
Such a great actor.
He lived it, man. He lived it.
He's an incredible actor. And and I hope he knows that he really did like contribute to the lore of Letterkenny in such a positive way. Sure. Oh yeah. And like people love him. He'll always be like a big part of it.
I gotta ask once a day, what happened to Devin? I get that once a day.
Yeah, he really left such a huge mark, and his work is so good. And
we'll have him on to talk about it someday. We'll have him on to chat about his he has like this very cool mindfulness Instagram now.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting seeing how people like
transition
I worked
and do different things.
This is like not Letterkenny related really, but not at all. But I worked at Earl's for a long time in my like early 20s, and yesterday I was like, what are these kind of like classic Earl's freaks up to? Like I'm not
you
friends.
Search them all up. They're all such serious professions now.
Well, they're all doing like kind of quirked out things that I'm like, this makes sense.
Tattooist.
Like one girl,
let me guess.
Like sound bath girl.
Really quirked out.
Who's like living in like some kind of tropical island. We have like this like set of twins that are still kind of dressing up the same and doing like skits.
Nice.
You know, it's like, it's fun.
This is the Toronto Earls, right? Like this is not like a Victoria Earls. Wow.
No.
Sound baths.
Yeah, it's all like a huge departure from when I knew them, but at the same time I go, that makes sense. And DeJordy kind of getting into like a bit more of a spiritual mindfulness. I'm like, tracks. That
does track.
Yeah, so we've got Glenn kind of guiding the boys, and then a little piece we missed is it's kind of abrupt, but Katie is all of a sudden just out of nowhere walking into this convenience store.
I rewound and watched that several times, by the way.
Why?
I wanted to watch what your process was. I wanted to watch what you were doing when you walked into the convenience store, stopped, saw the poster, took a picture, and walked in. Because there's very little B-roll in Letterkenny.
Yeah.
It's very interesting whenever there's a scene with no dialogue. Because you weren't even, I'm like, do you remember that day? Like, do you remember it just being like a technical, because you have your phone out already and you just kind of like walk up to the door, you look at the poster, you take a photo of it, you go in. I'm like,
I know, it's so fast.
It's such a fast moment.
And it kind of like, this is where I feel so funny about Katie. She's certainly not an overthinker. She just is very much a doer.
She's
just kind of like, she's like, beep, boop, done, I go. Like, it's very that.
It's like a robot sometimes.
It's very robotic quick. I'm sure they just were like, I'm sure we did it a few different ways where it was like a bit more thoughtful. Yeah. And then they're like, well, we have 23 minutes per episode, so we need to use the one that's 3.5 seconds long and just gets the point across.
Yeah, we showed the poster, we showed you, you saw the poster. Okay, done.
Okay, and can I just say as I'm walking out of the gym or whatever, and I've gone to this model search and now getting signed by this agent. The man who plays the agent, I remember this so well. So I'd come off a project, I'm not going to give details, where I'm not joking. I don't know how else to say this. I was like bullied.
Yeah, I remember this.
And it was so demoralizing and it really like scared me. And it was just a very shattering experience, to be totally honest. And I remember I wrapped it and then like went to shoot Letterkenny the next day. And I was in the van with this man, I believe his name is Andy, who played this agent. And he is randomly, he's an actor, but he's also a professor at a university. And I think he's a psychology professor.
What?
And we just like instantly clicked and got into this conversation. And I told him what had happened. And I didn't tell who or like give personal details of the person I'd been dealing with, obviously. But I said what my experience had been. And he like gave me such impactful advice. And he was like, this person is doing things that somebody who's a sociopath would do. And that's what you've just dealt with. And these are the things you need to do to kind of like detach from what happened. And he just like really helped me so much, honestly, because I was really not okay. And it was lovely. He's a lovely person. I just so appreciated it.
Did you drive up from Toronto with him? Is it that?
Yeah.
Okay. So for those of you who don't know, Letterkenny is shot in Sudbury, Ontario, which is about a 4.5 hour drive from Toronto. And so a lot of the times what will happen is cast will fly into Toronto and they get driven up on these 4.5 hour drives in a van. And so there's a lot of time to talk. And so if you drive up with another actor, you're either taking naps or chatting. And that is what is happening for 4.5 hours. So you really do get to know people on these drives. They're very unique.
Yeah.
These 4.5 hour drives.
And I am certainly not somebody who's like, I meet somebody and then I go, oh, I just had this trauma experience. It just
no,
like,
I know.
So
this to me
my...
sounds like not you at all. Like to bring it up to a stranger is like so weird.
There was something about him that I just was like, he just was so welcoming. And
he had good energy.
And he read me.
Dude.
He's like, are you okay? And I was like, no.
You want to talk about trauma? What happened to him on the last day on that?
What?
Do you not remember this? This is the scariest moment of Letterkenny. Period. Shooting Letterkenny. When we're all there to fight. Oh my God, you weren't there. No, you weren't there because you get in the car with him. On the last day, just as we're about to fight, he's standing outside of his car on the driver's side door, passenger side door, just like standing there. And the hockey players drive up and stop. Something gets stuck in the Jeep because it's an older Jeep.
Shit.
And the Jeep continues driving. And when it's supposed to stop behind the BMW, and Dylan has to change course into the ditch, inches away from where he's standing, going full speed, and then the car jumps over the ditch into the other ditch. Like it happened in 0.2 seconds.
That was crazy.
It was terrifying. Like, he could have died. He was moments away from death.
Yes, and as were Dylan and Andrew in the car.
True. True.
That was crazy. Thank you for bringing this up. I forgot that Andy was standing outside.
He was standing right in the path. Like if Dylan had hit the car, he would have been. That would have been it. And if he had driven like and that's the thing about Dylan. Dylan's pretty clutch in those like moments when you really need Dylan.
Unless there's a fire.
No, but even then he gets the fire outside. Like he can pull it together when he really needs to.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like that's one of those moments where he's threaded the needle.
He's good in a crisis,
perfectly.
and he's agile, and he's very obviously like physically talented.
He's skilled, yeah.
But
that was so scary.
I remember that, and I remember thinking if that had been me driving, I would have killed everybody.
Yeah.
Like it took a really good driver to navigate that. That was so dangerous. There was literally like the car malfunctioned.
Something happened. Yeah. And it was like a
freak accident.
Freak accident.
Scary. That could have been so
The show
bad.
could have been straight up over at that moment because there would have been a death on set and we'd never get more Letterkenny and there'd be people who never recover from that day. Like that could have been it.
And I remember, just for like clarity, it was literally a mechanical error. No person was at fault. It was just one of those true freak accidents that can happen. The car had been tested and driven many times before.
Yeah, it's a
everybody
set car.
did their job. Yeah, like everybody had done their job to make sure that was like a secure situation. It's just, accidents happen, like true accidents happen. And that was, oh my God, I totally, well, God. Poor
exactly.
Andy.
And then that's where I was coming around with this. He like let it like just roll off his shoulder after that. Like he was a little shaken up, but then he was just like, you know what? Let's just go again. Like he was fine, which was to me, I was like, I'm sorry. If I was you, I would not have another take.
You'd be and that's a wrap on the day.
Not doing that again. But it was
not his experience on Letterkenny being like, okay, this is the lead actress trauma dumped on me for 4.5 hours, and then I almost got killed by Dylan Playfair. He's like, I'm gonna quit acting and just be a professor.
Probably a good call. There's more longevity there, apparently. It's very not even funny. It's funny because everyone's okay. Wild, scary day though. That was a scary day.
Yeah. Well, thank God everyone's okay.
Yeah. So continuing from there.
Yeah. So Katie essentially, like, this is how we sort of get her little character development moving along. She wants out of Letterkenny. She's
set up for season 3.
She's kind of been burned for her last 2 relationships with the 2 hockey players and then Stuart. They didn't work out. She's kind of like, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to go to the city. And she leaves. The Skids come, don't see her leaving. The hockey comes, that don't see her leaving. They want to fight. They want to like get back their lady. And then Stormy's new stud comes and it's being brought in by none other than Clark Bacco, who's playing Rosie.
The love of my life. I love Clark so much. I sent her a text. I was like, it's actually funny. I was in the LCBO yesterday and there was a huge picture of her on the wall. They were like reusing one of her old ads. And she was like, tell me where that is. They owe me money.
They owe her money.
Like, it's so funny. It's just like a huge picture of Clark. I walked in the LCBO. I was like, the fuck?
Yeah, they should not be rinsing that without.
No, exactly.
That's the thing about like modeling jobs though. You're just like, you sign away and you get your like dumb little date check, and then they just use it for
they just send it somewhere else, and they honestly. It's something I cannot relate to even at all. Cause like I feel like Schmidt in that episode of New Girl, like I wish I could be a print model. It'd be so fun to see myself like selling a bottle of wine. Like that would be, that's my dream.
Like, I'll do it for free.
I would. Anyone out there want me to be used in print ad? I'll build up my resume. But yeah, I saw that literally yesterday, and I was like, we're watching your episode. We're doing your episode tomorrow. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
And she actually, she loved Letterkenny. I like just chatting with her about it a bit, and she was just saying how much she thinks the show is funny. And I was telling her how surprised we were. I know we keep bringing this up, but it's because we didn't see it.
Yeah.
I never watched all this. It's great. This is a great episode.
It's a great episode. Yeah. So she comes, obviously her and Wayne have instant chemistry, and then it's bam, Angie shows up. Cause we haven't really talked about Angie, like in the series, it just sort of was like a blip. They went to their car together, and then we never hear about it again. And she's like, I love you, I want you back. And then he gets the phone call from Tanis.
Oh fuck.
Big news. Pregnant. Huge.
Yeah, 3 women fighting over Wayne as per usual.
It makes sense.
It does make sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I remember on that day too, before we move on from this moment, when we're about to fight, Kiso throws my face aside. Like walks by me, palms my head like a basketball, and throws it. That to me, if people always ask like, what is something that you found funny that happened? Like that made me laugh. Every time I was hurled off screen, I was laughing. I was like, this is such a funny sequence. I thought it was so.
I forgot about that.
That's not in the script. He was just like, when I'm walking by you, can I just throw your head? It was like, I was like, yes. Go for it. And the way, like, he's such a powerful guy. He just fucking throws you. Yeah, and I lean into it too. It was very funny.
That's so fun.
We had a great time that day.
I actually remember this day well. Like we were all hanging out, sitting out on the grass together, like chilling in between setups. And I remember you guys coming out on bikes, and it was like earth, wind, fire, water.
Oh, and I was obsessed with where the bike was going to land. And Jacob was like, it doesn't matter. You're going to, you just end up where you end. Yeah. It was so fun. We chatted a lot. That was one of those, again, when we get a scene where all of us are together. We have so much fun off camera up until the car malfunctions and almost kills everyone. But other than that, great time. So much fun. And it felt like a real summer. I mean, these were like the great things about shooting on location in the summer outside at the farm, because it was like, we could just like sit outside and have coffees and chat with your friends, and you're at work, but you're not at work. You're lounging in a field. Are you kidding me? That's again, we're circling back to the Oscars. I'm like, you guys have the best job in the world.
Yes. Like,
just enjoy it.
Just enjoy it and be aware that you are so lucky.
Very privileged.
I will say, like, I think sometimes our industry can be a little bit demoralizing, of course. And like, there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of self-doubt if you're not careful. And being on this like indie movie that I'm working on now, it kind of is like
igniting. Is it doing something?
Yeah. Like I'm kind of like, I really love acting, and I love being on a set, and I love being creative with people. And it's such a joy for me to do. And I think sometimes when you're too like industry focused, you can kind of like lose touch.
You lose the plot for sure, because you're just like worried about your career, and you're worried about like perception and all these other things that like don't matter and you can't affect anyway. So it's like focus on the work. Yeah. Focus on the work always. Exactly. And Letterkenny was such a joy in that way, because yes, we were focused on the work, but we were all just so, and still to this day are obsessed with each other and like deeply cared and laughed with each other. Like you guys were always the funniest people. I could talk to you about anything. Like it's so sentimental of me to say, but it's true. Like it was so, not a lot of sets you can do that. No, and we all were like that with each other. And I remember like meeting Clark for the first time, and I can't wait to have her on. But like we had such a lovely first encounter, because I had been coming off a show that was really hostile. She had been coming off a project that was also really hostile. And so when we met, we both kind of like just like affirmed that it doesn't have to feel that way. It doesn't have to be this competitive bullshit. It can actually be like really warm and uplifting. And like the better you are, the better I'm going to be too, like in this project. And that's the focus. It's always. So true. I remember going to dinner with her for the first time on that like that sequence. And it was with her and DeJordy, and I was just like, I really like this person.
Yeah.
Like I had such an immediate good first impression of Clark.
Yeah, you guys were tight like right away.
We hit it off immediately. Yeah. I think it's something about both being from Toronto, both having like, I don't know, we very much got along.
Yeah, I remember that for sure.
It was really, really nice. And it's like one of those things where like on Letterkenny, you don't always know when people are going to come back because there are so many people that kind of cycle in and out of the show and have like, you know, maybe 2 or 3 episodes. It's wild to think she came in as early as season 2 and stuck around to the end. Like she was there the whole time.
Yeah, she's an integral character to the show. Yeah. Well, what a great final episode. And we'll go through next episode. We'll do kind of like our full season thoughts and like some extra takeaways. But yeah, this was a really good like wrap up of season 2. This is also like a cute, because it's such a different way to end the season, because in season 1, it was very wrapped up in a bow because we didn't know the future, whereas we had been renewed already at season 2. So then there's some freedom to leave some things kind of open-ended and fun.
When we went out to dinner, dinner at Smiling Buddha or whatever.
Oh, I remember.
And they told us that we had like 3 seasons of renewals
48
or something.
episodes.
Yeah, we were like, oh, okay.
No, it was crazy. Yeah, so we all went out to dinner.
I have a job for 3 years.
Yeah,
whoa,
it was insane. Like we all went out to dinner, and they're like, we just want to like celebrate the season and like the wrap party, and we have an announcement. We just got word from Belle that we're renewed. And then it was like a pause, and we all thought, renewed for like another 6. And they're like,
episodes.
for 42 more episodes.
We're like, huh?
Like 3 more years, meaning we're going to be employed all together doing the show. Like that's, again, you know, this is a cheesy thing to say, but that's because of the fans.
Yeah, it is. There was such a warm reception.
Well, and just
show.
Numbers. Yeah. Like it was because of you guys listening. So thank you for like being so kind of loud about the show so early on. And
your voices make a difference. They matter. Huge. When you leave reviews on things like podcasts,
like for say podcasts,
makes a difference and makes people want to keep working with people. Yeah.
Yeah. So very appreciated. Great episode.
I remember that feeling well. I remember that sensation of the renewal. That is,
it was a huge
very
moment.
Memorable. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then going back to each other's rooms being like, what? Can you believe it? Can you fucking believe it?
I know, we were all like vibrating. It was crazy.
Drunk.
And we did. And then we really did.
Let's play pool. What are we doing here?
Let's take shots of whiskey. And we did.
Yeah. We took so many shots of whiskey. There was always a bottle. People don't know a lot about the background of Letterkenny. There was always a bottle of Jameson waiting at your hotel room when you got to Sudbury for the first time. Bottle of Jameson, bag of all-dressed chips.
All-dressed chips, yeah.
It was
the
a
script,
thing.
And then sometimes a mixed CD that Jared had put together. How cute is that? Like as if we're in grade 10 and your crush makes you a CD. It's like butterflies. You're like, oh my God, Jared,
I have nothing to play this on.
I know. I'm like,
I don't know what this is for. Yeah, who's this for? What are you talking about?
No, I kept those mixes because they're so cute. Oh, cute. Should we get into Spare Hearts?
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Do you have a question?
I got questions. I actually spent a few moments just making like a future questions in case we need them.
Great.
File folder.
So here we are. Great. Here we are.
Here we are. Here we go.
And away.
And away we go.
What is that from?
I don't know. And away we
go. What is that?
Ago. It's got to be something with like, it's like Legally Blonde or something. It's something in my mind that I've seen a lot of times. I don't know why I can't place it.
Meet the Parents. It's a Meet the Parents era, potentially. Like a 2001 to 2012.
Something in that zone. Okay, we have this is a cutie. This is a cute question. Okay. But it's also kind of like hard hitting.
It's not kink?
It's not kink. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
Do you refuse to answer this question because it's not kink?
I'm only into kink these days.
That's actually fair. Me too.
As a concept, not in practice. Continue.
Yeah, same.
Continue.
Okay, so this is from a 37-year-old man living in the GTA. Shout out GTA. Let's go. Sorry. Huge Letterkenny fan along with his fiance. And the podcast is a wonderful insight to some of the hilarious stuff that we just end up asking questions about. Who comes up with this? And now you know the answers to these questions. And it's mostly Jared's weird brain. That's what it says.
Wait, what? Say that again.
Did that not make sense?
No.
The podcast is a wonderful insight into some of the hilarious stuff where you just end up asking, who comes up with this? And now we know it's mostly Jared's weird brain. And then there's a crying, laughing emoji. So you really know this person is 37.
Yeah, if he was younger, he would have put the like skull emoji.
Exactly, right?
You can't, cry face is no longer an option.
Those are out,
millennials.
Or just like keep identifying yourself as a millennial. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, get a neon sign.
You have your own culture. Yeah. Live, laugh, love. Anyway, my question isn't relationship related, but I hope you can help. I like that. 2024 was a hard year for me. His position at work was eliminated rather than being laid off. And he was moved back into a role at work that he had worked for years to get out of. He was feeling like it was a bit punitive given what happened to the other team members. He doesn't want to go too much detail into it, but a couple of months after that happened, he lost his 39-year-old sister to breast cancer, which put a lot of things into stark perspective. It showed me that life really is too short to be spending most of my working hours and waking hours doing something that doesn't make me happy. About a year ago, I started a hobbyist woodworking program at a local college and fell in love to the point where now I'm considering doing full-time cabinet making course and changing careers entirely. He's in IT right now. The problem is that it's not a program he can do at night or on the weekends or generally outside of his regular working hours. So he'd have to quit his job, leaving a pretty large hole in their budget for at least a year. Even after graduation, I'd be looking at a salary that's around half of what I make now, if not less. We also have a mortgage and condo fees that are pretty scary numbers on only one income. But I'm tired of making the line go up for someone else's benefit. And at the end of the day, not even knowing what I've really done. It feels kind of pointless. What do you think? What would you do? Stick where I'm at, look for a new job in the same industry, or go way off and do something I love but pays me a lot less?
I mean, you're very young in your career life. Like, I think it's funny.
37 is the new 27.
Well, not only that, but like on average, people switch careers in their life like every 7 years.
I've heard 8 is the number, 8 times in your working life.
And you're very young in your working life still. I obviously understand like security is important, but yeah, you don't want to blow your brains out because you're so bored.
It is tough. It is a very tough thing to like look at that. I mean, there's a lot of TV shows about it right now, but like the monotony of jobs sometimes.
Yeah.
And it is like, this is your one life. This is your YOLO to live. Okay. So you got
Millennial YOLO.
Millennial YOLO.
He knows what that means.
He certainly knows what YOLO is. So you've got to YOLO it whenever you can. And I truly believe, as two people who, I mean, we're the worst and best people to ask this of, because we pursued our dreams. You know what I mean? But hey, we're gonna call a spade here. But acting's pretty fucking stupid career choice when it comes to like numbers and, you know, expectations.
Yeah. Oh. Well, and also
you're a model first too. I mean, that's
what a crazy choice.
Now you're a writer. You can't pick a steady career if you tried.
No, and like again, you know, to talk about my parents again, my dad's favorite thing to be like, so what are you doing now to avoid getting a real job? And I went, well, starting a podcast, and I'm going to be rebranding with my skincare company. He's like, okay, Godspeed.
He's so funny. You did a serious job though. He did like job, right?
No, he was a producer.
Oh, that's a fake job too. You can't talk shit.
Yeah, you can't talk shit. You can't say a goddamn thing.
Produce like an amazing show from the 90s, like a cartoon that I love? What is it again?
Reboot.
Reboot!
Yeah.
I love Reboot.
Of course. Reboot's
I fucking love
incredible.
I want a gritty real remake of Enzo so badly.
I know,
IRL. I bet he gets sent scripts all the time about this. Fuck, I love that show.
It's such a good show. And I remember as like a little baby kid, we got like to watch all of it first before it came out.
What?
And then we did like Beast Wars. And
I love Beast Wars.
And then like My Little Pony.
I've almost gotten a Cheetor tattoo multiple times.
I don't know what that is.
Well, come on, Rhinox. Get out of here.
Can we? And then also this like Japanese show that was like massive in Japan. And then he did it. He went to Japan and it was like a very adult kind of like sexy anime show there. And then
Sailor Moon, because Sailor Moon did that.
No, well, he did work on Sailor Moon too, but this was, oh my God, this is driving me crazy.
This is driving me crazy. Are you kidding me? Worked on all of my favorite shows from my childhood.
I know. And then he kind of like, he did it so that and put it into like a child like format and brought it over to...
They do that with every Japanese show, Take the blood out, all that stuff.
Oh my God, it'll come to me. Just give me a sec.
Like Card Captors or something?
No, it's like a huge anime show. But yeah, he was like, so yes, he doesn't have a leg to stand on.
Yu-Gi-Oh?
No.
Pokemon?
90s anime show.
Why don't you just IMDb your dad? Just Googling 90s anime show. Okay, I'm just going to name some random 90s anime shows that I love. Biker Mice from Mars. Gargoyles. Freaky Stories.
This is driving me crazy.
What a Mess.
Oh, wait.
Real Monsters.
I think it might be this.
Yeah? Did you get it?
Hold on.
Monster Hunter?
The phone. No.
Ultimate Wrestling?
Oh my gosh, Connor, you're going to have to like...
No, don't take any of this out. This is perfect. People are going to be like, I love that show. I love that show. I love that show.
Oh,
this is the best part.
Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. Yeah. So he did not have a real job. He had a fun ass job.
I used to get in such huge fights with my mother about taping Dragon Ball Z and being allowed to watch it when I was done my chores. Like these were screaming matches that were like legendary in my household. It was such an important show.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. And it was like a funny, and I remember going to BLT productions like as a little kid and like watching the kid actors and sometimes adult actors doing the voiceover work.
No way!
Yeah.
All the Dragon Ball Z voices are great.
I remember being like, cringe. Literally though, I remember being
6 years old.
Like, guys, you're being a lot. But anyways, they were so good though. It was like, I was probably just jealous.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Later you end up doing. Do you ever do voice work? Have you done voice?
I did my first animated show. It's just a pilot though, and we're like hoping that it gets picked up.
Amazing.
Or like last year, I guess.
That's
like 6
amazing.
months ago.
Did you use your regular voice?
Loved it. Kind of like a bit pitched up. It was a bit more of a character voice, but I loved it. I had so much fun.
That's awesome. I'm so
So
happy for you.
we're working on it. It's kind of hard to break into the voiceovers.
It's very challenging. My sister-in-law, she is the voices of Muffy from Arthur, Pippi Longstocking, all that stuff. She's a voice director in Toronto. She's been doing it since she was 12.
Yeah,
she only just became a voice director. Like she's been trying for like it's like such a challenging industry to make any headway. There's only like 10 actors in it. You know, they do everything.
And they do everything. And Emily Tennant is one of them.
She's one of them.
She's an incredible voice actor. Yeah. She's got a little baby Polly Pocket voice. It's crazy.
She's got a great voice.
But yeah,
Alana said you sound like bubblegum. She said that to me. My wife has told me on multiple occasions. I don't know what that means, but it's true. That means either. You sound like bubblegum.
That's so sweet. God, Alana, what a dream. The four of us got to get together. Yeah. Let's get back to our question, though.
Oh, God. So sorry.
I know. We just...
Look how much fun we have talking about our job, though.
This is it.
Yeah.
So this is worth it. This is why it's worth it. And look, are you going to take a hit? Yes. Is that a part of life? Yes. I don't know. I want my job to be fun, at the very least interesting. And if you have neither of those two things, you have to transition out. It sounds like what you're pursuing lights you up. Oh, also, follow your bliss and the money will come. It's something my granny used to always say. If you love
granny was rich as shit.
No. She was loaded. No, she wasn't. But she was like, had a great life. And she lived rich and she changed careers. And she was totally financially stable. It's like, if you're loving something, likely you're going to be good at it. And that's going to mean it's going to catch on. And you got to go for it.
Yeah. These the people who are insanely wealthy, they're not happy. That's not where joy comes from. Joy doesn't come from making money. Bezos posting that photo with all those girls.
All those hot girls.
Fucking happy, dude.
He's an absolute idiot.
He's depressed as shit. No amount of money will fill the hole in your heart that comes from not making real connections with people. You got to go out there, find your love in your career, find like-minded people, put a cabinet making fucking team together, make beautiful cabinetry, man. I'll hire you. Let's make some beautiful, let's work together.
My kitchen sucks.
My kitchen sucks too. Let's go.
Literally, let's go. Yeah, no, I think you should go for it. I think look, calculated risk. I understand that. Maybe there's a way to and this is, you know what else? You know what else rich people do? They take out loans.
They do.
Sorry, I shouldn't be giving financial
Get a good rate. I know a guy, he's in an alleyway. He's got a great VIG.
Don't listen to me, but do follow your bliss.
Have you heard of sports betting?
Oh my God. I hear Dogecoin is really going to take off.
It's going to take off like crazy. Can't wait.
Yeah. No, but I do think you should go for it. And I don't know. I always Connor and I talk about this a lot where we're like, we could deal with a lot less. If we had to in order to like go for what we actually want and what makes us happy and what lights us up, we could live with a lot less and still be really happy. So like like being mindful of like all the stuff that can be really overwhelming and really taxing, reevaluate it and go for what you actually love instead of having the things.
Totally. Invest in yourself.
Yeah, man.
Invest in yourself. You're the only you got, and life is for the living. I'm going to say as many quotes as I can here. Do you have any other good ones?
Follow your bliss and the money will come. I will say, I was coming into this recording pissed off. I feel so energized and happy right now. This was so fun. I needed this.
It's a good gig. Yeah, you were like, fuck you for making me do a video.
Be on camera. And now, but this is what, should we call this work? Unclear. But like when you're doing things that you actually like, it can change your whole day.
Michelle, you know the quote. Just say the quote. Just say it.
Follow your bliss.
No, the one from Letterkenny.
Oh,
everyone's screaming at the podcast right now.
Okay,
She's you just circled around it 4 times.
I know. I'm like,
without saying it.
It didn't even fucking cross my mind. But do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Truer words, like that is it.
And that feels like a perfect place to end. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for writing in. We really appreciate you all. I mean, we're almost at the end of our season 2. And I know our seasons are kind of short because it's only 6 weeks, but like, thank you for riding with us and continuing to listen and rate, review. It means the world. So we really appreciate it. It
really does. Thanks, guys.
And Evan, what a delight.
What a freaking delight you are. Get out of here.
What a delight. Okay. Well, I'll see you soon. We'll see you guys next week, and goodbye.
Bye.